Today I am going to progress you through a sequence that helps stretch out your hips, your quads, and your lower back to ideally progress you into what's called a full squat PNF stretch. Okay, but also give you modifications for that. So the first thing that we're going to start with is T-spine rotations. The first thing that we're going to start with is T-spine rotations. So for today, what I'm going to do through each mobility or stretch. So again, mobility, remember, is just holding for 5-10 seconds and moving that range of motion, your joint through a range of motion. Stretching is elongating the muscles, and holding them for 20 seconds or more. And today we are combining both. Okay. So with the T-spine rotation, if you need to do it modified, this is what I have demonstrated today for an elevated surface, but you can also use a chair. So if you've got issues with your knees kneeling down on the ground, or one side is not fully available to you compared to the other side, these modifications that I am putting you through here today are what you want to implement. So do with what works best for you with the modifications for the progressions based on where your body is at or where I have coached you to start at. Okay. So we're doing modified T-spine rotations, and I'm going to also show with the modified T-spine rotations, full T-spine rotations as well. I'm putting this here because I'm going to be progressing and going to need that for my knees after. Okay, so with the modified T-spine rotations, you're not bringing your knee down on the ground, right? So I'm demonstrating with my right foot in front, and my left hand on the elevated surface. So then my knees are not down on the ground and putting any pressure or anything, right? Ideally, as parallel as you can between your hand and your leg, parallel across from one another between your hand and your leg. And then I'm rotating my right arm towards my right leg. And I take a deep breath and I just open everything up towards that side. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Deep breath, opening it on up. Breathe. Deep breath, opening on up. And now, if it's available to you to come down on the ground, then you would do the same thing. Come down on the ground or do another one modified on the right and another one modified on the left. Big deep breaths. Breathe. Awesome. Excellent. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up our hips a little bit more on our lower back. And we're going to do leg swings. We're going to do 10 leg swings on one side on a straight frontal plane. 10 on one side, 10 on the other. And then 10 in front and 10 behind. And I am going to use my ceiling so you guys can see me properly. I'm going to use my ceiling, my mobility stick, so you can see me properly when I'm doing this. Okay, so we're doing 10 forwards. Breathe. I've lost count now. Let's say that's 5 deep breaths. 6, and the goal with this is to swing and get that mobility, not to balance. So if you're not balanced on something and you're focusing on balance, that defeats the purpose of this exercise. Okay, so this is for mobility, not trying to focus on your balance. Okay, and then we're doing 10 on the other side, 10 on the other side. Big deep breaths in, breathing out. 10 on the other side. Let's breathe. Excellent. Good. And then you're going to do it in front. So let me show you sideways. View. So when you're doing it in front, again, you're holding onto the wall. So pretend my stick is the wall. So you're holding on to it effectively there, or you're holding onto a very sturdy chair. Okay, I'm going to hold on to my ceilings. And you're bringing your foot in front and then out to the side. Foot is in front and then out to the side. And just letting it swing as loose and as exaggerated as you can, and breathe. So you're swinging in front of the leg that's standing on the ground and out to the opposite side. Breathe. And then opposite leg. So again, letting that leg swing here in front as best you can Then into the side, and take big deep breaths in, breathing out as you're doing so. Breathe. Awesome job. Good. So those are the leg swings. So that loosens up the ankle. That loosens up your hip and your lower back a little bit more. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stretch our quads. We're going to stretch our quads. Okay. Now, modified version first. Modified version first. You're going to be lying on your side. Okay. Lying on your side. And you're pulling that quad in towards you, pulling that quad in towards you, taking a deep breath in, breathing out, pushing that hip forward. You're taking a deep breath in, breathing out, pushing that hip forward, okay? And if it's available to lie on your back and stretch the quad instead, with your toes under, you're gonna do that, okay? And then after I'm done demonstrating here on both sides, okay, I'm gonna show you an advanced version. So an advanced version, so you can keep stretching and improving your flexibility and mobility. Deep breath in, breathing out. So for these stretches, you're holding for 20 seconds, right? Okay, and you just lie over on the other side to stretch out the quad if it's not available to lie back with your foot tucked in. Okay. And I'm not doing fully 20 seconds, right? Because this is just a demonstration video to help you understand how to go through the range, the sequence of exercises to help improve your hip mobility, loosen up your back and your quad, and also flexibility with your IT band. Okay. Okay. So those are available to you with those quad stretches. Then what you would want to do is you progress it. So you're here, you're kneeling, half kneeling. You got that foot up, and then what you're doing, that flag's as straight as you can, and then you're using the elevated surface for some resistance to help you get a deeper stretch in the quad. First time I did this in the Olympic lifting course that I did. Whew. The Olympic lifting coach, who is literally an Olympic lifting level coach, so he's been to the Olympics with people from Ukraine and Russia and that. He made me almost cry. He goes, "You're a fighter. Your body can do it." Is she making that face, saying to the rest of the people that were in the cert? And he was like, "Good." Deep breath. I don't recommend for you doing that. I'm just telling you the story of how sometimes you learn certain things. It's like a hurt so good kind of bad. So then you would switch and do the same thing on the other side. So deep breath in, breathing out, and pushing that hip forward. So you want to get to that point, right, with any stretch. Get to that point where it feels slightly uncomfortable and you take a deep breath in. You breathe out and then you just go a little bit further to improve your flexibility. Awesome. Okay. So now we are, our body is primed, our lower body, our hips, our quads are primed to move into what's called a PNF squat stretch. PNF squat stretch. Okay. I'm going to show you the modified version. The modified version, I've also jokingly over the years in the gym called it the stripper stretch. Okay. Okay, so it's not going to be the easiest for me to demonstrate this here because I don't actually have a wall where you can fully see me properly doing it, but I'll do it on the side here. So what you want to do is you want to hold the side of, like if you're in a gym, you hold the side of a railing, okay, like the squat rack where it's holding, like it's solid, it's stable. If you're at home, you hold the door frame, you stand in the middle of the door. So for example, I'm not going to fully do it here because you won't be able to see me and hear me as well. I'd be holding onto my door here like this, okay? But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to do it where you see me here. Okay, so your chest is up, and what we're doing as we're coming in, we're trying to go down to ass to grass stretch because the goal with the PNF stretch is to be here with your elbows in between and push your elbows in and squeeze as tight as you can. But I know that's not available to everybody, and everybody has to work up to it bit by bit by bit. So you have to work up to it. So the way that you work up to it with assistance is you're here holding onto the wall. And what you're doing is just gently rocking your hips from side to side as you're coming down, holding onto that wall. And you're just gently opening up the hips and sitting into it as you've got assistance with that wall. Okay, and again, it's not going to look like this for everybody. Everybody's going to look different. But you're gently rocking from side to side because the rocking helps loosen up the tendons and ligaments, and you're able to sit into them a little easier. You're able to sit into them a little easier. Deep, okay? And then the rocking, deep breath in, breathing out, coming back up. The rocking, just like with an elastic band, okay, if you have an elastic band that's kind of cold, but you warm it up a little bit and then you open it, it becomes more flexible and loose. That's the same with our tendons and ligaments. Like if the elastic band has been in your drawer and it's kind of cold, and now as you open it, it's kind of cracky. Okay, that happens with our tendons and ligaments as well, right? So with the rocking, we're gently warming the tendons and ligaments up without making them more pliable and flexible as you're going, okay? So you would do that for 3 sets. You would do that for 3 sets where you're rocking from side to side, coming on down, deep breath in, breathing out, rocking gently, and then slowly coming back up, kicking those legs out, maybe doing a few hip hinges, kicking back, coming up and around, forwards, out and around, okay? Doing a few hip hinges just to get that joints and the snowy fluid fully moving, okay? And then once that becomes easier, we're going into that full PNF stretch. So you're coming on down, chest is up, elbows are inside your knees as best as you can. Elbows are inside your knees as best as you can. You're taking a deep breath in, and you're squeezing in as hard as you can. Deep breath in, squeezing in as hard as you can. Okay, squeezing those elbows, resisting the elbows against the knees, and resisting the knees against the elbows. So they're resisting, so there's like that isometric stretch or isometric kind of strength, but what it's doing is even elongating those tendons and ligaments a little bit more. So you take a deep breath in, squeeze in, holding for 5 to 10 seconds, and then you completely relax. And then you do that again another 2 times. Deep breath in, squeezing, 5 to 10 seconds, keeping that chest up. We're loosening up that lower back, hips, all the tendons and ligaments, and then relaxing. And then we do one more. So I don't know if you noticed, if you can see it a little bit on the camera there, the more that I'm doing, the more I'm able to sit into that squat deeper. So deep breath in, breathing, and then time. And then slowly coming on up, and again, do hip hinges. Okay. Awesome. So that's the PNF stretch. And the last one here to progress into, you have really tight hip flexors, tight lower back. And it was available to you to do the half kneeling. You're kneeling, pushing that hip forwards, deep breath in, breathing out. Okay. And then you're balanced either on the platform. So I'm holding on the platform because I want to stretch a little deeper. It's 90 degrees. You're pushing that hip forwards, deep breath, reaching on up and over. And holding for 20 seconds. Then you do the same thing on the opposite side. So again, you want to get into that deep stretch in that quad. And then once you feel that stretch in that quad and you're balanced, okay, whatever way it needs to be on the side of the wall, on that side of the chair, you're balanced. Lean back. You bring that hand with the knee that's kneeling in behind, that hand comes up and over. So you're stretching out that IT, hip insertion, lower recti spinae insertion point. I'm going to show you on the opposite side here again, so you guys understand what I mean. You're stretching out everything that's here, here, and going down by this stretch, okay? And then if it's not available, right, to have that foot fully up, then you're just half kneeling, doing the same thing. Half kneeling, doing the same thing. And then working on progressing to getting that foot up gently. Okay? Awesome. All right, so that is your full progression into your PNF, hip, mobility, flexibility, and strength, because this primes you if you're not able to do full bootstrap squats, if you're not able to do full bootstrap squats like this is one of the exercises that I work on with you guys. One more exercises I'm progressing you into. This primes you to be able to get into that exercise and really get at that mobility, strength, and cardio, because the bootstrap squats are one of my favorite go-to exercises when I'm pressed for time or I'm traveling to hit that core, hit that cardio, hit your quads, hit your glutes. It's just awesome. Hit that mobility. Okay, awesome job. Well done.